Our first keynote speaker is a leading figure in the field of AI and ethics, a strategist whose work sits at the intersection of technology and society. Please join me in welcoming Abi Adedeyi, AI and ethics strategist, to speak on the topic from legal skills to smart systems, how AI is reshaping the lawyer's toolkit. Ma'am, we are honored to have you with us. The virtual podium is yours. Please, you may proceed.
Hi, everyone. I don't know if you can see my screen.
Yes,
Yes,
hi
we can
Abby.
see your screen.
Yes, we
I
can.
can.
Okay. It's lovely to be here today, and I appreciate the opportunity to speak with you this afternoon. Yeah, so I'm Abiodede Day, and I'm an AI teacher, builder, and strategist. So as I'm looking at the audience here, I can see quite a number of my contemporaries in other industries here. And I can also see the future architects of the legal profession. And I must say that the future I see is pretty exciting because you're going to be getting into law at a time of unprecedented transformation. So today I just want to share a bit about what I see on how AI is not just transforming legal practice, but also creating entirely new opportunities for lawyers who understand how to think in systems. So this, you can see on your screen, is Sarah. Sarah is a lawyer in Lagos. Some years back, let's say 4 or 5 years ago, whenever a firm gets this merger deals and all, she would practically disappear from the face of the earth. And her friends would be calling, trying to find out where she is. We haven't seen you in weeks. And then she would respond that she's drowning in contracts. She has over 500 documents to review, and she must not miss a thing. Because if she misses a thing, the partners will have her head. So she was practically spending our weekends in the office trying to review documents after documents, contract after contracts. But recently, Sarah's firm got even a bigger deal. But something different happened this time. So we're talking international merger, twice as complex. And that will mean that there'll be more paperwork. So our friends were expecting that, okay, Sarah was going to disappear as usual. But she showed up at their weekend hangout and everyone was shocked. So what are you doing here? Shouldn't you be in the office doing stuff and all? But she told them that she had finished the first review in 2 hours. And then they're like, okay, how did that happen? And it actually turned out that our firm decided to build an AI system that learned exactly how they think. So now she's able to spend her time doing some exciting things. Not that she's not working, but she's able to do things that are more profitable than drowning in documents. So she's able to do strategy, negotiation, networking, actual talking to customers. Now, all this I've said sounds like something far away, but it is here. So what does that mean for you as a future lawyer? First, you get to do the cool things that lawyers do. I remember I used to watch Suits in the days where they go to court, they go and speak, and then they win the case, they go out for drinks. Yeah, that will happen. But The real deal is that your career is going to move faster. And the reason will be because some of the things you would have ended up doing as a junior lawyer, you don't need to do them as much. Then you should be able to achieve work-life balance as well. So you wouldn't have to choose between your friends and your career. Then you'll be solving problems that did not exist when your lecturers were studying law. Because AI is here, it's no longer coming. Whether we like it or not, it is here. So the question is, are you going to ride the tide or is it going to wash over you? That's for you to decide. So let's talk about how things have changed. Back in 2004, I don't know if most of you were here then or you were trying to walk or something then. Yeah, legal work used to be very different. So you would hear lawyers going to the library and they keep pulling huge books off the shelves. And then research would mean that you're making copies, photocopies of pages of cases, you know. And then communication would be like you printing letters. I remember then I was back in GT and would print demand letters and would hand deliver them to the client. They'll send it off by post or they hand deliver it. Then a client can ask you a question on Monday and you will not get back to them until Friday because you didn't have the answer at the time. But fast forward to today, you can research cases from anywhere in the world. You could be sitting in a bus and then you're doing that. You can draft documents that can automatically check for errors. So we have Grammarly, Jasper, we have quite a number of them. And then it's so easy to collaborate with lawyers in different parts of the world. You could be talking to a lawyer in London, New York, or Joburg, all at the same time. We're all seated in this room, but we're not in the same place at this time. So here is what I need you to understand. The core of being a lawyer hasn't changed at all. The critical thinking, the understanding your client, the solving of complex problems, the way you argue persuasively, they're still your superpowers. I would say that AI has just come to make those skills stronger and then also more prominent. So that's what will definitely set you apart from others. Now, with all this, AI doesn't replace that, it enhances everything. But before we start thinking, oh, this is so amazing, and then let's AI-fy everything, we need to stop here because we need to also realize that as lawyers, we have serious responsibilities. Client confidentiality isn't just a nice idea, it's sacred. You cannot just upload your client's information to any random AI tool and hope for the best. You cannot also take full advice from an AI tool and think you have case examples and all. Just the other day, I think it was earlier this week, a lawyer in Australia was fined because she was quoting fictitious cases she got off AI. And you can imagine what that will do to her career. To take a lot to wash that off. So think about it this way. Maybe you're handling a high-profile case, maybe one involving a politician or a major business deal, and then the information leaks because you used an insecure AI tool. We don't have to prophesy here. Your career is over. It's not been damaged. It's over. That's what it is. And I'm sure that the different regulatory authorities that manages lawyers or as the oversight of lawyers, there's the Nigerian Bar Association, and then we have the international bodies as well. They would have their rules on professional conduct, and there wouldn't be any exception that says, oh, because you're using AI, it's okay. You're still responsible for everything that happens to your client's information. And then with the data protection regulations that have been coming up, both locally and internationally, and getting stricter. A privacy breach could cause serious legal problems for you personally, not just as an organization. So I'm not trying to scare you. I'm just trying to say that it's important that we approach AI like the smart, responsible lawyers you are training to become. So think safety first and innovation second. Now, what are the new skills you need to develop along with your legal training? The first would be problem identification. So it's not enough to say, let me get an AI tool that will solve this problem, because there are shiny tools everywhere. We wake up, there's a new tool. You wake up, there's a new way of doing things. We have new prompts every day. We have news. The whole thing is choking. However, for you, you need to ask yourself, what exactly is the problem I'm trying to solve? What need am I trying to meet? And then you're also thinking, is it really a problem, or that's just the way things have always been done? And this is to also let you think that, is the way things have always been done the right way? Can it be made better? Or would it scatter the whole thing if we try to fix it all up? Because there are times you need to scatter stuff to make them better anyway. Then secondly, systems thinking. This is huge. However, it's what will make the business run smoothly. It will make things not to run in silos. So don't think about isolated tasks. Think about the entire workflow. So let me give you an example. Say you're working on land disputes. So it's not enough for you to just speed up the title search. You need to think about the entire process. Okay, you're taking in a client, and then you're doing the land registry search, and then you're filing in court, and then you're also following up. How does information flow through each step? Where do things get stuck? That's when you start thinking in systems, because you're not thinking about just one process, but you're thinking about how one step builds on the other or makes it a lot better. Then the third thing is context preservation. And what this is basically saying is that information shouldn't just disappear when they move from person to person or from one process to another. So if your junior associate discovers something important during a research, that insight should flow seamlessly to the senior partner that is handling a transaction or a negotiation. So things should flow. It shouldn't disappear along the line. Then you also need data interpretation skills, because these days it's not just about the tech people or the business people knowing how the business runs. You also have a duty to yourself to understand how the business runs. I've been in meetings where maybe we're having all hands, and then people are not listening because they say, oh, that's not my function. The person presenting is not in my department. But you forget that everything that happens in that room happens to the organization you belong to. So if a negative information is being shared there, let's say your financial books are not in order, it means that it's possible that you would not collect a salary next month. So these things are pretty important. Being able to understand and interpret whatever data you see and make it make sense to your line of work and the organization as a whole is very important. So data interpretation, something you need to know. Then process design as well is something you need to know. You need to understand how a particular process that brings about maybe revenue for you or growth as a business in general is drawn up. How does each step flow into the other? And there are tools here every day that keeps coming up that you can use to design this. The other day I was hearing about Figma Make. I haven't tried it. But if with natural language we can get more done, then by all means, let's try it. Don't let go of your curiosity. Curiosity led me down the AI path, and that's what is still leading me today. It's important that we also learn how to collaborate with AI systems. Always remember that you are the one that is directing it. It's not directing you. You still have your uniqueness to show forth in the work you're doing. So I've heard of people who would take AI, hook, line, and sinker, and just send it out. I've known people who've lost their job based on that. Your uniqueness, the reason why you're hired, should show forth or shine through in the work you're presenting. So don't let it be that AI-fied work that you're turning out. Learn to collaborate with them, argue with them, try to confirm what it's giving you across different channels. That's only when you can say you're giving your best to the work you're doing. Then, most importantly, keep learning. We all know that technology changes fast. You know, I mentioned it earlier, everyday new tools, new news, everything, things keep coming up. The AI tools you learned this year might be completely different by the time you graduate. And this is not for you to be sinking in tools. Work with your use cases and then build from there. Once you understand the fundamental principles, prompt engineering, how to build basic AI assistants and all, you can adapt to anything. I have a friend who used to be the head of legal and compliance in one of the leading international fintechs, and now she's running a private capital firm. I can tell you some of the things that she knows as a lawyer inspires me. You would think, okay, most people will want to stay within their lane and all that, but she goes all out to learn and then apply it to the work she's doing, which is what you should be doing as well. That's what will set you apart. Now, I just want to share a bit more about the system thinking that I talked about earlier. So imagine you're working for a firm that represents one of the major banks in the world, and they decided to standardize their contracts, their supplier contracts. So we're talking about hundreds of contracts because they have cleaning companies they work with, they have IT professionals they work with. And the old way will be to get all the junior lawyers in the room, order maybe suya and soft drink, and then put them in a conference room and say, okay, start checking the documents and ensure that we don't miss a thing. But what if you built a smart system instead? So you're training it on anonymized versions of documents that your firm has reviewed before. You've removed all sensitive information, no client name, no specific amount, no identifying details. But you're showing the system the pattern of what your firm typically would accept or reject based on your internal AI policy. The system learns that when a client is a bank, the liability clauses will need to be tighter, some clauses will need to be flagged, and then some contracts that have been written before a particular time might need an update. The beautiful thing is that all this learning will happen without exposing client information. So you're building institutional knowledge while protecting confidentiality, which is very important. So instead of the junior lawyers spending weeks drowning in paperwork, the system takes up that part of the work, the initial review, and then routes the different issues to the different specialists. And what used to take weeks will now take days, and then your lawyers are analyzing and strategizing instead of just reading. Another area is in legal research. We all know that legal research can be challenging. You need to research across different legal systems. I'm not a lawyer, but I know there are different types of laws. There's a common law and different laws. That's your specialty. That's not mine. Yeah. So, and you would need some cases from different courts as well, different decisions that have been made that can guide your own upcoming decisions. So traditional research would be like trying to find someone in Lagos traffic without a phone. You definitely cannot. It's very difficult, except you stay in one place and wait for the person to get to you one way or the other. But imagine you building a research system that understands legal concepts and not only keywords, that knows when you're researching for a particular thing, it's able to give you similar cases that may have used different terminology. So you have, maybe you're trying to research employer termination, but there is another decision that speaks about wrongful dismissal. A smart system should be able to catch that connection. So after learning from how your firm typically researches, the system is also able to notice that when you're looking at commercial law cases, you're able to also find out if there are banking and other financial institution acts implications, all those things that normally you would have to do yourself systematically, and it can take you days. So this is like you having a research assistant who has memorized all cases ever decided and then can instantly spot connections that could take you hours to find. Now you're able to do more comprehensive research in less time with insights that you might have missed using traditional methods. So I'm rounding off now, but I was just going to go here again with respect to building AI systems. You need to think about privacy. So we see that different laws are coming up about enforcing these things, and data breach can destroy your career, like we said before. So every system needs to answer these questions that you can see on my screen. The first is, where exactly will client data be processed? Is it staying in the country, or is it going to servers in other countries? Who has access to that data? Can you prove who accessed what and when? Then if a client tells you to delete their data, can you actually do it? If a system makes a mistake, can you trace exactly where the mistake came from? So these are not technical questions that you would leave to your IT team. You as the lawyer must understand these things, and you must be able to speak to it. So imagine you're representing a client in a sensitive matter. Let's say maybe a government contract or a high profile business deal, and something happens along this line because you did not properly secure your AI systems. You're not just losing a client. You may face professional sanctions along the way, some legal liabilities, and you can destroy your reputation. So you have to design first for privacy and then innovation. So you have to be able to strike that balance always. These are some of the skills. I've talked about them before, but I just thought to reiterate. You need to be able to learn how to manipulate data and also spot patterns. It will serve you all through your career. And then you must learn how to map workflows as well. Take the different processes maybe it could be a process of how your university handles student complaint, or how you have your court competitions, and then you're able to draw out the steps and then check where the bottlenecks are, what takes forever, where does it get confusing, and then see if there's an AI tool that can help with that. Then the third one is the data protection laws. Please take it seriously. It's going to guide you. It has real consequences. You need to understand it like your career depends on it, and it does. Then you should also try to explain some technical concepts that you have learned to non-technical people. So what I've found is that most senior lawyers are brilliant, but they are not tech savvy. So if you are able to bridge that gap, you'll become invaluable. Then join different legal tech communities. I'm sure Choma will be able to direct you to some of those. Start small, build confidence, and you'll be able to definitely build AI fluency as a legal professional. This is something that I would expect that anyone should know now. It's not all about tools, it's about you understanding how to use it to better your process and ensure that you understand the ethics and the privacy considerations as well. Think about responsible innovation from the beginning. So that way it will show that you're really ready to build the future of legal practice. These are some of the careers that are on now. They didn't exist before. So you can always look at them because new problems would always bring new careers, and you're perfectly positioned to create those careers and even more. Now, this in itself as well is something I think we should all look at so that we could help our proficiency as legal people. The first is for you to identify and map processes and then automate repetitive tasks in your daily workflow. Do it repeatedly, and then you start to think like a system designer, a legal system designer. Then research some of these legal tech companies, their approach. Don't just visit their website and read about us. Check what problems they identified and solved and what their systems do. That way, you're able to understand their process and also take some learnings from there. Communities. I've said that. Start building your AI enhanced legal mindset today because the future would not wait for you. Yeah. Finally, I'd leave you with this. The future of legal practice is being written right now. It's not in 5 years, it's right now. So you can sit back and watch others shape your profession, or you start shaping it yourself. So the choice is yours, and the time is now. Thank you.
Wow, 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 wow. That was so beautiful. Thank you so very much, ma'am. Thank you so very much. This was such an insightful moment we've had. You talked about critical thinking, understanding our strengths, that AI doesn't replace that, it enhances everything. Client confidentiality is quite important. You mentioned, of course, an Australian case where a lawyer cited fictitious cases. Just a recap for those who later joined, fictitious cases and was fined for that. And problem identification is key in the journey. We have to start learning to think in systems. Context preservation is quite important, and data interpretation. That it has to make sense to our line of work and organization as a whole. And then process design. And yeah, very importantly, we shouldn't let go of curiosity. We'll have to learn to collaborate with AI systems. We are the one directing the use of the AI, directing the AI, not otherwise. So because we are unique in our own ways, and that's the reason we're hired in the first place, and it has to shine through us in the work we're presenting. And also learning to confirm all we've come across, doing research across, confirm all the accuracy of the information across all channels, and always ensure that there is a continuous learning process. We must ensure we keep learning because the world is fast changing, the AI tools keep changing, so we keep learning and we keep adapting. Then and also data privacy, right, towards the end of your session, data privacy, because like you mentioned rightly, and rightly so, data breach can destroy one's career. If there is a system, if the system makes a mistake, are you able to identify before your client finds out, oh, there is a mistake here? Or if he finds out, how do you remedy that? And ensure that we represent properly. We have to start thinking about responsible innovation from the outset, because it's only in doing so that we'll do well. Then being a legal system designer, should be the end point after everything, after we must have understood the processes. And yes, I restate, like you have already said, that the future of legal practice is here and is right now. Thank you once again, Abby. Thank you so very much. We deeply appreciate this moment. We'll have to proceed to